Hey guys, welcome back in. We just spent the last 10 weeks going over the top 10 challenges that top producing realtors had according to Tom Ferry's coaching platform and 250,000 hours of coaching put into AI. And that was awesome. Today, we're talking about micro local San Diego challenges, top 5 that we're seeing, and solutions to go with those.
Yeah.
So it's been a crazy market since forever, right? I mean, I don't even know what normal is.
I feel like there is no normal market anymore. All we can count on is change. Everything is always changing.
Yeah.
But I think we have seen definitely a trend with multiple things in our market where we have seen affordability be an issue, interest rates be an issue,
Yes.
Uncertainty be an issue in a lot of things.
Departures from the city, arrivals to the city.
Which just leaves a lot of uncertainty, right?
Yeah.
Do we rent? Do we buy? All the different things that go on. So I would think here locally in San Diego, the first and foremost, really where I think one of the biggest issues we have in our county is probably affordability. I mean,
Affordability.
You don't have to look far to find on any statistics, any magazines, any kind of traveling rate or home, where most people want to live, top most expensive places to live, all of those things.
Oh, any chart, yeah.
San Diego has been number one for quite a while, usually one of the top ones. So with average home prices being $1 million, I think it's 11% of people are actually able to afford $1 million home. I mean, it's pretty crazy when you hear that. I know I told my grandparents homes are $1 million and they were like, what?
It used to be the Big Apple, right? If you could make it in New York, kid, you can make it anywhere. Now it's San Diego. If you can make it here,
Southern
you can
California,
make it
yeah.
And and then you add to that the moving target of interest rates. We're under 6. No, we're not. We're back in the mid-6s. And then war is supposed to bring it down, but it doesn't. And so it's just it leaves a lot of concern and a lot of fear and then a lot of waiting.
Yeah.
Because we're always waiting for the next shoe to drop or for the next advantageous change for us to make it more appropriate to buy in San Diego. The truth is, if you look over the last decade and the decade before that and the decade before that, if you buy in San Diego, you have appreciated up and to the right in the long term.
Always.
So the entry point in San Diego was always a safe bet and always a good move.
Right.
It's just we're trying to time the market to get the most advantageous terms, and that's what makes it hard.
Yeah.
And you can't. Who can blame somebody for trying to do that?
And I think that's where we have to educate buyers on your first home probably isn't going to be your forever last home that you're going to have.
Yeah.
You're probably going to have to start with an entry condo but the hard thing is even some condos in some certain places are pretty close to $1 million or $700,000-$800,000 condos. And it's pretty hard to look at somebody and be like, yeah, that's going to be a $6,000-$7,000 mortgage payment. And they're going from renting of $5,000. That's still a pretty big jump.
And you throw HOA on there.
Right. So having that education of, hey, we got to maybe figure out this isn't going to be your forever home. Let's look at some other areas. Let's identify what we can afford. What is our monthly number? And then that gets into the educating on, like you said, interest rates number that we know is the second probably most challenging thing we have here in San Diego, because that makes it pretty hard to afford when prices are up here and interest rates are up here. It makes it kind of hard. It was nice during COVID when at least prices were here and rates were down here.
Oh my gosh, you could afford way more house on the same income.
Which kind of makes the reason why people are a little golden handcuffed, which that's the other problem we see is a little bit of inventory. But the second issue, going back to the interest rates, I think that's where we have to educate the buyers on there's different programs. There's different things, right?
I think so. Just to clean up on affordability, there's the ladder strategy. So you go out east or go to some more affordable part of the county, get a condo, ride that appreciation, get the down for the mid-level, ride that, and then get the down for the jumbo or the final destination home, etc. Is a strategy. Another strategy, perfectly acceptable, is rent wherever you want and have real estate elsewhere.
Yeah.
Or buy into a REIT or buy into a syndication or have rentals in Arizona or buy a 6 unit in, I don't know, Oklahoma, Tulsa. Tulsa's on fire.
Yeah,
right? Or like Tennessee or wherever.
Yeah.
And then you could be a homeowner, get those tax benefits, but live where you want.
Exactly.
So there's multiple strategies for that, but affordability continues to be an issue.
Right. And I don't think, I mean,
it's not going anywhere.
We've all been outside recently, right? And
it's
like
amazing.
We see other parts of the country. I really don't think that's going to change. And historically, like you said, home prices have never really completely tanked. And even if we did see even a 10% drop, it still wouldn't make a huge difference, I wouldn't think, you know? It still wouldn't be...
Well, like you think 2008, 9, 10, right? You had 20, my dad had 20 short sale listings, couldn't sell one of them, right? So values were coming down and down and down. And even then it's totally rebounded and then some since then in the great recession of 2008. So, you have to, it is doable. You attack it with a strategy. We see multi-generational homes where families are buying homes together. We see young people getting in and getting a duplex and tackling that mortgage payment together. So there are strategies. You just got to get creative.
Yeah.
And then, so that's one of the things that we see very vibrant in terms of a local challenge in the San Diego marketplace. And the solutions are get creative, get with your real estate professionals and talk about them, what the strategies can be.
And then, so like going with those strategies, we understand that interest rates are high.
So number two,
high interest rates. Well, that's across the board, right?
Right.
But there are creative solutions for high interest rates.
Yeah.
There are ARMs. There are buy downs. There are there's a lot of lenders out there right now that have really creative programs to help. There's grants for first time home buyers. There's different programs that will cover closing costs. If you're VA, you have different entitlements. You have tons of benefits that you can use. So there's a lot of different financing options out there.
I'd say it's worth investigating because with these higher interest rate environment, which historically is still very doable interest rates. We've seen 17, 20% interest rates in this county, in this world, in the early 80s and throughout time. So 6.5% is a manageable number for debt. However, given our recent history and our recency bias of 2, 3, 4% interest rates, 6.5 seems like it's on the moon.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's some stalling. There's some waiting. A lot of people on the fence. That is an advantage for a buyer.
Yeah.
So if you can educate yourself on these buy downs and these 3-year ARMs, 5-year ARMs, etc., that enable you as a tool to get in and get a piece of the rock, so to speak, and get that appreciation tallying up. Now you're in. When everybody else is waiting, you're moving.
Right.
Right. And you got yourself in. And 10 years from now, you're not going to care how you got in.
No.
You got in.
Well, and that's the other thing. Like your rate will always change. Rates are changing. But if you get locked in, your payment's not going to change. But if the rate gets lower, your payment can change to be a lower payment because you can refinance. And you're going to have appreciation. So, I mean, historically, the values have really always gone up here in San Diego. So it gives you the options, right?
Yeah.
So I think people have to educate the buyers on understanding of saying, hey, look, the rates are going to change. They're going to fluctuate. So if we can get you locked in, get you into a rate that you can afford and something that's a manageable payment where you're not house broke, right? You can still afford groceries. You can still, because that's the other thing we hear. Like we hear a lot of people got into homes and they're like house broke and they're like, we can't do anything.
I own a house, but I can't eat.
Like I can't do anything else. Like this is all we have now. So, you have to make sure, okay, I have this monthly payment. I have a little bit extra to cover everything else. I have a little bit to go to some fun, right? Like we have a little fun fund. And then rates are going to change. So if we can get a lower rate when they do come down and we can lock in and change, then we can refi and we have that option. But at least you're locked in because with renting, we know what happens with rents. We've seen those happen. Those always go up. But those always go up.
And those have been flattening a little bit with values.
Yeah, they have. But
of late,
even then, even if you got in at a high price point, your landlord's still going to raise you every 10% every year. So it doesn't matter. So even if you got in last year and you paid when it was high prices, you're kind of SOL, right? Because you're going to get raised. So you're already in that high price point unless you get out. So you're already kind of paying what a mortgage would be at that point anyways.
Yeah.
So
I would say make sure you have a solid mortgage consultant and representative. You have a solid real estate professional working on your behalf that's showing you and shining a big bright light on all the options and entry points. Because if you couple a little bit of a more affordable area for a while with one of these aggressive low interest rates 3-year buy downs, now you're in, right? And you use two advantageous factors to get into the market, and then wait and see when you're able to refinance, restructure the debt, etc. But you're in the game, right? So, and a lot of people aren't moving to get in the game. If you take that action and get in, I think overall, long term, it's going to be advantageous.
Absolutely.
I mean, since we're in San Diego.
Yeah, so I would say those for sure are probably the top two that we would say would be.
Yeah, and I think anybody would agree, right?
Yeah, affordability. I mean, we've been hearing that word now for the past 2-3 years, affordability. High interest rates when those went from 2.5% to 6% overnight.
Was it May 2024? Inflation came up and then interest rates came up.
Yes, that's what happened.
So what the third kind of lingering challenge we're seeing is inventory.
We still have an inventory challenge. We still do.
It seems like we've got all these houses for sale and properties are trading, and we're in the front lines and title and escrow. So we see a lot of closings, a lot of escrows going in and out all the time. But when you back out and take the greater perspective, the 30,000 elevation viewpoint, you see inventory is somewhat anemic still.
Yeah, and we are still seeing, I think, with the inventory being pretty anemic, pretty low. I didn't get the exact number of what's on the market this month, but I still think we're probably 3.5 months inventory. Right. So I mean, we're better than one. Yeah. We're better than a month.
We had 1,800 units on the market.
Yeah, we're better than that, but we are still seeing, it's interesting depending on where the house is at and what it's priced at, if it's moving or not,
Oh my gosh, we see it in price strategy, not price where you end up or where you start, but price strategy. How do you arrive to the price that you're seeking as the seller? Because you may have to go way lower,
right?
Like 10%, 7%, 3% lower than the last comp to stimulate interest, and then get a bidding war, get at least multiple parties involved and interested. Yeah. And then they end up going against one another and hopefully getting the best price for the seller. But it's about price strategy.
Yeah.
And so, but the lack of inventory or fewer options, fewer purchasing options, it just leads to a little bit what feels like a stalemate. But on the other side, we see a lot of properties trading still.
Yeah.
So it's hard there's no black and white clean way to portray our market at the moment. But there's just not a lot to shop around if you're a buyer.
I mean, I feel like too, we still have that off-market opportunities are still such a gold mine, and still is really where those buyers have the opportunities to get in and find those houses before they're on the market. So educating buyers on off-market opportunities on how to find these properties. And so I feel like inventory is one of the issues. It's not as big of an issue as we've had in the past, but people are still struggling to find the home that fits for them.
Well, because sellers are like, we'll list, but here's our number. And they're like,
this isn't going to be the number.
So they don't list, right? So then you have and this is something we coach our agents on, is get the buyer's needs and go find the sellers directly.
Well, and the other reason they don't list is because they have the handcuffed of the 2% interest
where am I
rate.
going at 6.5%, 7%?
Why would I sell my home when I have a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom house and my mortgage payment's $2,200?
It's multifactorial, right?
Yeah, why? Where am I gonna go? Where am I gonna get that anywhere else? There's so many factors that go into our inventory.
So, but as a good agent will find, okay, well, who are the sellers that may be in a position that makes them a higher likelihood candidate for selling that aren't on the market. And I have my buyer who wants XYZ neighborhood. And then I've identified these higher likelihood sellers in said neighborhood. Well, I can make and try to connect the dots here and make a deal happen. Yeah. Right. That's something that we've seen work at a high level.
Yep. We've seen that work really well.
Yeah. And then you're in control of the whole deal. Your buyer wins. They get into the market. The seller wins. They don't have to do open houses. They don't have to fuss and, do all the things with listing the property on market. They get an offer. They like it. They go into escrow. Sold.
Done.
So there's a lot of advantages to be had there for the real estate pro, and every party wins.
Right. Totally. Well, so I think inventory inventory, and then after inventory is definitely, I think, just a lot of uncertainty in the marketplace. Like we'll call it uncertainty. I mean, we have seen, I don't even know if I want to say market times, because honestly, I feel like sometimes it just depends on the property of where it's at. Like you
very
said,
pockety.
It's
right?
very pockety right now, because we just had one where I got a call to drop off booties on the Friday because they were having the open house first weekend, and we just got the email on Wednesday that it's already in escrow. Like
Bam,
multiple,
like that.
multiple offers in escrow like that. Great price point, great neighborhood, great property.
And then yet I'm on the phone with the client like on Tuesday, and I got 5 listings, no showings, no activity, no nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. So you hear both sides of the coin, and it's like, well, what are you doing to get that in front of people? And it begs a lot of questions.
And we have strategies on that. So if your
Yes,
properties
absolutely.
are sitting, we have ways to help with
one
that.
thing, so how do I, so getting predictive on it, how do I get out in front of this like non-moving listing? I got to make sure my price is right from the get-go.
Right.
And
we can't chase the market.
Yeah.
We can't. We have to. I know it's like that uncomfortable conversation of wanting to, and we've never been in the situation of having to talk with the seller of, hey, this is where your house is, the price, this is what all the data is showing us. But we have to argue all the time of why our rates is our rate, and we have to explain our rate and why we're not budging on our rate.
Right.
And we have to argue that. So it's very similar to, hey, why we're going to have to list your home at this price. Well, I think that's so important, especially in this kind of market, because when your house is on the market for 30, 60 days, people start to question, right? They're like, what's going on here?
It goes stale, and then it goes question marks, and then it's tainted for a little bit, right? And you might have to remove from the market, chill for a while, and then relist it. So I think you can arrive at the number close to or approaching the desired number with a strategy of starting below and ramping it up, because most people can afford more than they think, and go shopping with. So that, I think uncertainty is a great encapsulation of the market, and from the seller and the buyers. But again, have a plan for that. How do we go in, and we're wanting to achieve this benchmark, we're wanting to achieve this result. What are the steps to get there, and then work those steps?
And I think too, setting those realistic expectations up front, right? We talk about it, having the seller check-in worksheet, like having a check-in of, hey, these are how many open houses we had. This is how many views on social media. This is how many views on Zillow, Redfin we've had. This is how many caravans I went to. This is how many buyer's agents I've called in the area. And having those check-ins with your clients periodically, so you can show them, hey, this is where we're at in the process. This is how many showings we've had. And then when you have to have any kind of conversations, if you haven't had any offers, you can give them the data that represents the conversation of, hey, we might have to price reduction. But you have to be upfront with your sellers and have those realistic expectations, just like we are upfront, right? We're always upfront with our clients. We're upfront, hey, this is how we're going to work. This is what you can expect from us. This is what we do. If we're not your cup of tea, cool, we got it. We get it. So I think it's just important setting that precedent up front.
Well, and then having the communication with the action steps that you've taken, reporting to them. You cannot over communicate when you have a listing now of what you're doing, and having a monthly, like a Monday morning report, the don't fire me.
I was going to say monthly.
No, the Monday, maybe multiple times a week. But for instance, we have we have tons of title issues. That's what we do. There's a kind of a big one that we're dealing with, and I've communicated with all parties throughout the day, every day, seeking solution and letting them know where we're at. And it's because that awareness and that clarity is critical in that time frame. So the seller, when you go into week 3, week 4 of listing, what's going on, and you're saying, hey, this many views on the video, this many people at the caravan were pitched to, this many people on Redfin and Zillow got views, and I called this many buyers agents that are operating in the area and had at least 10 buy-side closings. I had all the things. And in the face of that insurmountable evidence of the agent working their butt off, then the conclusion naturally is, well, we're priced a little high.
Well, I think you just made a really good point that I think we should touch on. That, we were on the phone. I know we were all texting last night. We're getting a civil engineer. We were talking with a real estate attorney, trying to get all of this worked and figured out. And when there's issues on files, that's where we step up, right? So when you have issues going sideways or you have things going a little haywire, that's where you have to communicate. That's where you have to be on it. So when you have problems, because like we understand, sometimes you don't need title. Like sometimes the prelim,
you need them now.
Exactly. And sometimes that you have sometimes there's some gnarly title things that are going on that it is intricate. There takes some people that have to look at it, that have to jump on it. So if your title person is not involved in that and is not answering their phone or is not on it with you, give us a call.
And it's not a time to hide under your desk. It's not a time to ghost the customer. And look, for a lot of people, that's the tendency. It's difficult to be in conflict. It's difficult to have really hard conversations and then to do hard work to find a solution for a hard problem.
Yeah.
All of that sucks and it's hard. And that's when you need to show up the brightest and the most repetitive in your communication. And be solutions oriented. Because look, challenges are coming. Like spoiler alert. I mean, and for life, right?
Right.
Like good things are happening, bad things are happening, catastrophes,
well, not every
blessings.
transaction is going to be sweet up the middle, vanilla, easy peasy. Like, not, especially the last 24 months.
Oh my gosh.
I think I told a client the other day, I was like, I think you heard me on the phone. I was like, feel free to throw us an easy one. Give it the next one you want to give me. Make it an easy one.
It doesn't have to be the knuckle curveball split every time.
Every time. Like the last 3 ones we've had together, girl, they've been some tough ones. And she laughed because she was like, and how appreciative. I mean, she has always been so appreciative of us. She sent an email saying, you guys have always been so communicative. You've always been so on it. You guys have been so awesome. And she was able to communicate every step of the way with her clients because we were communicating everything with her.
Yeah.
So it just made her look even better with her clients when shit was kind of going a little sideways.
Right.
And she didn't have to say like, well, I don't know, title or escrow's not getting back to me. Or I don't know what's going on.
It puts them in a bad spot.
It makes them look bad. And so when we're able to over communicate and say, hey, this is what's going on. This is what's going on. And she's able to continue to update her clients. It allows them to have that confidence of knowing like, hey, this is not the easiest transaction right now, but we're working through it. We're getting solutions. We're figuring it out.
I love to grow and learn through a file as much as anybody, but these last 5 years has been like, I got PhDs going on.
I have legit grays that have started to come from Yes.
Welcome to the party. Welcome to the gray hair party, girl. I mean, this forehead just keeps getting bigger, okay?
It is so
I don't have a forehead. I got a 5 head over here.
Oh my God,
but okay, so that number 5, what's the number 5 challenge? Oh, the perception of families leaving the city.
I think that kind of ties into the uncertainty of things, right? I think having that perception, which I think people are leaving, coming, going all the time, right?
Well, if we dissect it a little bit, we look at, okay, well, wait a minute. Everybody's leaving California, right? You hear especially the people that are already gone to Boise or Austin or Salt Lake City. They're like, everybody's leaving California. Well, of course you think that because you left California. Yeah, well, and
also let's talk about what's happened to those cities. Like, let's talk about the depreciation of those markets. Like Austin, I mean, look at their numbers of their housing market has tanked. Florida has tanked. So all these places that these people went to kind of escape like whatever they were looking for. They might have bought a house at $400,000, great home, but that home might be worth like $320 now.
We heard like 200 the other day.
We heard like half.
Well, it's not a neener moment.
No, not at all.
What
not
we're
at
saying
all.
is anywhere you live and you're happy and you can make your family and raise your family and do a good job, that's awesome. What we're saying is the shadow it casts over San Diego, specifically San Diego. So what if everybody's leaving California and leaving San Diego? Why would I buy a home? Why would I plant my flag here? Well, I don't know who's left and I don't have the numbers on that, but they seem to be being replaced as quickly as they're leaving. Because
and I'm the kind of person, if everyone's going this way, I want to go that way.
If you're going to zig, I'm going to zag. You know what I mean?
So like, I'm going to go the other way.
Well, and it's, there's so many reasons I live where I live other than tax benefits and price. I live because have you looked outside?
Climate. It's freaking Southern
California. The big blue
California.
thing on the map. The people are amazing.
People come here to do vacation. You see people, like, I don't know about you guys. When I go places, you can definitely tell when people are not from San Diego. You're like, they are here on vacation. Like when I see people in the water fully smiling faces in the ocean right now, no wetsuit on, or I'm like, they are not from here, and they are having the best time of their life.
You see it all the time where you live. Where I live,
and I'm
just
like, and I totally can tell they're not from here, and
I love that.
And exactly, because they're coming here on vacation. Like, we get to live in one of the most beautiful places, which is why it's one of the most expensive places to live. Which it's like. It kind of has to go hand in hand, which we're very fortunate. We're so lucky to be able to live in a place like this. And we're lucky to be in this kind of industry where we can help people have that same kind of dream and live in a place where they can raise their families and live in the same kind of lifestyle. I mean, like you said, I don't want to be shoveling snow in Minnesota. In Minnesota, like, I do not. No, that is not where I want to raise my family, shoveling snow.
Look, I'm a 49-year-old man, born and raised in San Diego. We have 3 born and raised people in the room. I don't know if the gorilla's from here, but maybe not. But we
maybe LA.
Yeah, and I can't speak for LA or other parts of Southern California, but I know San Diego. The people, the people are amazing. Like to pat us on the back, but. Everybody's pretty chill. Everybody's got, yes, we're getting after it. Yes, it's hard to make it here. Yes, everybody's grinding. But there's a very cool vibe to our city still.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody how many people have we talked to? Military, came here for school,
never left.
And just said, I never
came here on vacation. Never left.
Right? Came here on vacation, went home and sold everything and figured out I'm coming back to San Diego.
You guys, we meet with a lot of agents, and the amount of people that have been PCS'd here from like Virginia or Florida or whatever base, and they came here to do their service and stayed. Because I mean, so many people. Wasn't it in your family?
My grandfather, he came here from Wisconsin, from a farm in Wisconsin. He wasn't even 18. I think he was like maybe 16 and a half, maybe 17. I can't remember. And he came here to join the Navy and was like, I'm never moving back. Met my grandma at San Diego State, and that was it.
I think of my grandpa who migrated here for better work to leave Mexico, found a better life in America, but loved San Diego. I mean, you hear it all the time. People come and stay all the time.
So I think that perception that people are leaving, which I think that's probably why it's at the bottom of the list, because I don't know if it's as big as a thing as it was.
It's enough to cast a little bit of shadow of doubt, and I get that.
Yeah, with the uncertainty tied in with everything else.
With compounding with every other thing we listed, it's enough for people to just scratch their head.
It's like the ladder effect, right? It's like from the affordability with the high interest rates,
and
with
everybody's leaving.
And the uncertainty of, well, how do I afford this? And everybody's leaving, so why would I buy a house here? What can I afford? What if I don't know if I'm staying here? All those kinds of things, right?
Yeah.
So I think that just comes down to educating, selling on the, like, if people love California, if they don't want to leave, if they love where they live, they will figure it out, right?
Absolutely.
So if you can sell them on the lifestyle, help them find a place that they can afford to be at, and sell them on the move up or wherever. And hey, we love where we live. People love. We feel like we kind of like bash on East County just a little bit because we're from East County, so we can do that. So we can do that. I grew up in Lakeside. Okay,
I grew up in Spring Valley and El
Katie
Cajon.
Still lives in El Cajon.
Yeah,
so we
represent.
I feel like we have the right.
Granite Hills.
Yes. So that's why, and but it's beautiful out there. It is amazing. They got the hills. It is quiet. I always think about how quiet it is because I live under a flight path, and I'm like, it is so damn loud here all the time.
You can have like, I don't know, land with your house. Like, I don't have that. I don't have that. Well, and one thing, so I'm thinking, we do videos for realtors. So if I'm the real estate professional, I'm like, okay, great. There's all these challenges. Now what do I do? The truth is, you got to work through it. You got to pick up the phone and talk to more people. You have to go to networking events and network with more people. You've got to, and not even like hundreds and thousands, but just systematically. Like, I like to think of like a big Mike Tyson uppercut, you know? It's not that. It's a lot of little jabs. It's a lot of every single day. Consistent effort of educating, of getting and staying top of mind with people, that will do the job. The people that execute those principles of consistent outreach and talking to people that have the ability to send them real estate business, guess what? They have business.
Yeah, they have business.
People are still buying and selling all day long. So consistent outreach approaches and consistent work ethic is the great equalizer still.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I know it's out there, and that 4-letter word work, but the ones that are working, it's working.
It's working.
So, I mean, get out of the news cycle, get out of, like, you know, pondering all the challenges, even though that's what we did our video on, and just get to work and talk to sellers and buyers and put deals together.
Right. Well, and then you'll hear how people are doing it. You'll talk to other lenders out there and have the programs and say, oh, we just helped a client with who was able to afford this, and we helped him do that, and we could get him at this price point now and get him a little more to afford of what they thought they could.
Yeah.
So when you talk to more people, you hear more stories, which gives you more confidence to be like, oh, shit, we can do this. We got more people that we can help out there.
Yeah.
So those were kind of what we're seeing in San Diego, those little challenges, those little nuances. But I feel like we've seen that before. We've always had it here. And it's nothing we can't really overcome, like you said, with a little bit of systems, strategic outreach, and just staying consistent.
Well, if you've been an agent for 3 years, for 5 years, you've been through a lot and you're still here. So stop saying why me and start saying why not me. I'm the one. I'm the one to do this job, because you can. You've already gone through a lot.
Absolutely. I think we might drop it on that.
Okay.
Be the one.
Be the one. You got this and we got your back. So I'm Ryan.
And I'm Haley.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.